In a moment of crisis, individuals are tested to the limits. And sometimes we find qualities in ourselves and others that we never knew existed. We begin in the mountains above Fort Angeles, Washington on April 26, 1994, as Steve Riefenstahl and his best friend Ivan Beatty set out to have some fun after high school.
We're a lot like brothers. We fight like brothers do, and we do a lot of stuff together. We went down over to the cliff, got on our hands and knees and looked over the edge. It was a little bit windy, and you could hear the waves. You can see the water down there, and it was a long ways down. And we started throwing rocks off, and we got bored of that, and we were about to go, and Steve said there's a big log over in the brush.
This thing's big. I hope nobody's down. Okay, we're gonna have to really heave it so it bounces, all right?
He squatted down below me and held on to it, and I pushed it over.
Down below!
It caught his coat sleeve. Called his name a couple times and there was no response. I couldn't believe it was happening.
When Steve Riefenstahl fell off a 200-foot cliff into the dense forest below, his best friend, 18-year-old Ivan Beatty, could do nothing but go to get help.
Can you hear me?
I felt kind of helpless because I was at the top and I couldn't get down to him. And there's no way I could help him.
Column County Volunteer Fire Rescue Units responded, including EMT Donna Johnson.
The drop to the water is about 20 stories. We are taught in our schooling that at 3 stories, it's rare that they survive.
Sheriff's Detective Matt Dalton took charge at the scene.
I had to watch for several moments before I could really see any movement, and I had to study it to be sure that it wasn't something that I was just wishing for. But after watching, I was sure that he was still alive at that time.
It'll take a little bit of time, but we want you to stay awake.
The first thought that everybody there's thinking of and trying to figure out is, how are we going to get to him?
Right here, Dano.
There was a trail that went down to the general area. So I grabbed a couple of the volunteer firemen and asked them to go down the trail to see if they could render some medical assistance, because he was going to obviously need it relatively quickly after such a fall.
The first search and rescue worker to arrive, who was trained to rappel, was 73-year-old Art Judd.
I've been in search and rescue for 6 years. Before that, I was a volunteer fireman for 37 years. Before that, I was a paratrooper.
Art's an amazing man, and I didn't really think twice about it. I knew Art would handle it. Here's a man that's in incredible shape for his age. You know, he found the fountain of youth somewhere in the past and neglected to tell anybody else about it.
A Coast Guard helicopter arrived with rescue swimmer Chris Kemper on board.
We had to get the helicopter extremely close to the cliff in order to lower me down, and that was very dangerous getting in there. And Art rappelling down the cliff was very dangerous just because of being basically an overhang and a sheer face. So it was pretty dangerous for everybody involved.
It was really close to that cliff, and a gust of wind or a big rock or something come down, and that's all she wrote. When I looked down, I saw the rotor of a helicopter going around right below me. So they stopped me, and I had to stand there about 5 minutes.
soon as I hit the ground, I noticed that Dan and Donna were there, and I pointed in the general direction that I thought he was.
20 more feet, Dano. 20 feet. The first thing we saw was his legs, and his feet were completely broken and hanging to the sides. My main concern was that we were going to lose him to shock before we even got a chance to take him to the hospital.
They had a radio with them. We were able to ask them, are you going to be able to get him out on the trail? And it was a definite no. And it would be very dangerous to try to evacuate the injured man out straight up the cliff.
Give us a hand, or can you give us a hand with this guy? Or?
When I got there, I talked to Chris, the Coast Guardsman. I said, do you think we can fly him out? And he said, no, there's too much brush, too many trees, and they have to get too close to the cliff. And I said, we're going to have to lift him out and go up the cliff.
I was in shock big time. I didn't think he was going to make it out. And it was just a bad feeling.
We had to put him on a miller board inside a basket so we could take him out. And it seemed to take forever. I felt that the time that we spent down there was too long. I really did feel like we were going to lose him.
Okay, we're going to go and meet the helicopter at the top.
There must have been about 15 to 20 volunteers on the other end of the rope. I imagine that they were lifting probably at least 400 pounds up the face of the cliff.
Easy.
Art didn't have anything to put his feet on, to push off with anything. He was just completely hanging in free air. And so they'd oftentimes have to wait for the spinning to stop before they would pull again.
You guys got to get a hold now.
Okay, easy. All easy. Gotta get Art over yet.
When he came over the top, I was really concerned because I didn't see him moving or talking. The paramedic informed me that, yes, he was unconscious at that point.
Okay, lift. Okay, here we go. Hold on, Steve. You okay?
The first time I saw Steve, he was covered up and he had a neck brace thing on. And I remember when they tilted him to pick him up, I told him that I was there and everything's going to be just fine.
19-year-old Steve Reifenstahl was flown to Olympic Memorial Hospital. There he was examined by emergency physician Arthur Tordini.
Again? Steven's spine was fractured in several places in the lower back region. The feet and ankles were bent around 180 degrees and facing upright. He had spent nearly 3 hours in the field since the fall, and we were afraid that his legs would not be salvageable and that he would lose them.
Von Reifenstahl and Barbara Ware joined their son at the hospital.
When I first saw him, he looked like a mummy. He was all wrapped up. But I just looked like he was so little and so helpless, and I couldn't do nothing to help him.
Steve was transferred to Harborview Medical Center, where a team of specialists performed surgery to repair his broken vertebrae and try to save his severely damaged legs. Over the next 3 weeks, Steve drifted in and out of consciousness.
I stayed with him day in and day out, sitting in a chair, holding his hand, and talked to him, because the doctor said he can hear you.
I just kept saying, Stephen, if you can hear me, squeeze my hand, Stephen, and he wouldn't. So I just kept doing that for hours. And he wouldn't wake up for me.
Wake up, honey.
I just kept telling him how much I love him and that we wanted him to get well and that everybody was there and everything's okay.
Ivan came to see Steve every weekend.
I think it was the third week I got to go in and see him, and I told him that I was there. And if he heard me, I told him to squeeze my fingers twice, and he did.
We're here for you, Steve.
When he squeezed my fingers, I thought that he'd be okay then. He recognized who I was.
Steve was moved to a rehabilitation center to begin the painful process of learning to walk again, under the guidance of physical therapist Brett Nelson.
First steps, all right? Yep.
Steve was always motivated during his stay here, and in fact, sometimes we had to slow him down because he was real anxious to get out of bed and get moving and get back home.
1, 2, 3, up.
I mean, I owe everything to the doctors, the rescue crew, the Coast Guard for saving my son's life. Look at my son now. He's walking for legs that should have been amputated. And his feet are just, oh. It's unbelievable.
6 months have passed. Doctors expect Steve will soon be walking without crutches.
They say that if Ivan wouldn't have hung on to me, that I probably wouldn't have landed on my feet. And if I wouldn't have landed on my feet, I probably would have died. So I think I was really lucky. And I also think that I must have purpose for life to be saved.
A lot of times our rigs don't look pretty. A lot of our equipment are given to us by someone else. But the people have the heart. They'll go anywhere and do anything to save a life.
All you guys are out there? Or?
We became close down there, although he doesn't know it. To me, he's a part of me now.
You kept telling me to bring the car around. Let me sleep it off.
It's changed my life for the fact that I appreciate life now. There was so many people out there to help me. I didn't think my life was that important. It's pretty amazing to see everybody out there.
Recently, Steve got a chance to meet Art.
Hi, Steve. Howdy. It's a long time.
Yeah. Pretty amazing to hear about this man going over the edge. He risked his own life for me, and when I found out his age, I couldn't believe it.
Kind of hand me all the glory, but that isn't true, because one thing I'd like to say is that it just wasn't me. It was the fire department, the search and rescue, the sheriff's department, and the Coast Guard. We were all working in as a team. It's a real satisfying feeling. Told the wife I thought maybe I should use this for my grand finale, and after almost 46 years of emergency services, I thought maybe this would be a good time to cut it off. And I was telling him, knock it off. You're going to get.
I think Art's a great guy. It takes a special person to be something like that. That's a long ways down to go get someone you don't even know. He risked his own life to save my son. And I want to thank him.
Thank you so much.
Next.
I knew if I let go, then the air would have to go with me, and she wouldn't have anything.
Dannon Double Delights has a lighter side that's pure joy, creamy low-fat yogurt flavors like cheesecake, and a darker side, rich fruit toppings like ripe cherries. A complete delight, day or night.
Taste why it's Dannon.
Tanya Paws was just 13 when she left her mother Carol's house in California to spend the summer with her grandparents in Muncie, Indiana. A certified diver, Tanya decided on July 28, 1991, to go scuba diving in a quarry, which she had never done before.
Tanya's watched me dive in this quarry, and she'd heard about all the things that were in the bottom of the quarry that you could see as a diver, and so she wanted to go down and see those things that she'd heard about for years.
Tanya's grandparents, Dick and Miriam Handley, accompanied her that day.
Bye, be careful.
She's a sweet little girl. We're not on the same wavelength all the time, but that's to be expected. She knows we love her, and we know that she loves us.
Sharon Catardis was a close friend of Tanya's mother.
I arranged to have Sharon dive with her because she's an experienced diver. She is an assistant instructor. She knew this dive site well. We felt she would be the best person to have Tanya buddy with.
Car, you been in the water already?
Yeah, it's fine.
I knew her uncle and her mom were very good divers, and she'd been on several dives in California and Florida. So I was pretty confident that she knew what she was doing. visibility's not that great, and it is very cold. But when you're landlocked and there's not a beautiful ocean or anything else to go diving in, and you love to dive, you're going to go diving in what you have available. I was checking on Tanya, making sure everything was okay. She controlled her buoyancy very well, so she seemed pretty comfortable at that point. We had gotten down to about 30 feet, where the lowest temperature of the water is around 35 maybe. I turned and kind of wrapped my arms around and gave her that signal. And she gave it back like, yes, it's colder down here. But at that time, I didn't take it that she was cold herself. So we went ahead and continued.
I had a premonition that Tanya should not dive. And I felt so strongly about it that we called her mother and said, I just don't feel comfortable doing this. We don't want to have this responsibility.
We had a lot of phone conversations back and forth, and I said, go ahead and let her. I'm giving her my permission. If anything happens, it'll be my fault. I won't blame you.
At a certain point, she tugged on my fin. I turned around and looked at her and realized that she didn't have a regulator in her mouth. So I automatically gave her mine and then took my spare. I looked over her shoulder and tried to find out what was wrong, where her regulator went to. And I saw that her tank had slipped out of her BC and was down quite far. But we were so close when we were buddy breathing together that I couldn't reach around her and pull up her tank. So I made the decision to come up and see if we can get it resolved at the surface. It seemed like we weren't making any progress, and I couldn't figure out why. At that point, I dropped her weight belt because I thought, well, maybe she had too much weight, and that was one thing I can get rid of. We came up a little bit, but not very much. That was making me nervous because I was losing a little control of the situation. At that point, I dropped my weight belt, thinking that maybe I was overweighted. As I started to float towards the top, I was losing my grip on her because she wasn't coming up. I knew if I let go, then the air would have to go with me, and she wouldn't have anything. All the air that I had in my suit and my VC just pulled me right up to the surface.
As I stood on the shore looking out past the dock, I couldn't see any movement on the water itself, and then all at once, this helmet appeared.
Call 911. Tanya's on the bottom.
Miriam, call 911.
I had everything working against me. I had no weight belt. I had all that buoyancy. And exhaling all my air is about the only thing I could do to help me get down and really fight and swim and kick to get back down to her. I was feeling guilty that I couldn't get her up to the surface safely the first time. She was just so still, and she wasn't breathing. very scared. I just wanted to get her up and out of there. But if you come up too fast and you're not breathing, you could blow a lung very easily.
Tanya had been underwater without air for nearly 4 minutes.
When I looked at her, she just was very cold and very lifeless. I just hoped it wasn't too late.
I came up on the dock and I looked over at Tanya and I said, my God, she's dead. And then I remembered this one instructor. He said, give him air, give him air, give him air. I was emotional, and I knew I had to give her the air, at least give it a try. But I felt that she was gone.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I was getting really scared because her color was blue. She wasn't responding to anything.
2.
I was just sick to my stomach.
5.
I was praying like crazy.
3.
God, please, please, please don't let this girl die. What do I tell her mother? This girl was her life.
One of the first rescue workers on the scene was Delaware County EMS paramedic Mark Clark.
When we checked her, she was in full arrest.
Tell us what happened to somebody.
Finding her coded was one of those that you go, we're behind the ball game here. And our primary concern is to do the CPR until we can get her heart started again and get her breathing.
She's asystole. Can you tell me how far down you were?
We were about 30 feet.
When you're brought to the surface too quickly from a diving accident, air enters the bloodstream as a bubble, and that bubble can travel and cause a stroke.
I've got a pulse.
We needed to get her to the hospital just as quick as we could.
13-year-old Tanya Paz was taken by Parkview Samaritan Air Ambulance to St. Joseph Medical Center in Fort Wayne, Indiana. There, she was put under the care of Dr. Stephen Cole.
Tanya at the scene had not only been hypothermic, meaning her body temperature had been low, she also had collapsed a lung. But the reason she came to the hyperbaric facility was to deal with the bubbles in her bloodstream.
Tanya spent 5.5 hours in the hyperbaric chamber to regulate her oxygen levels and prevent deadly blood clots.
It was almost unbelievable. It was like a small submarine. I tapped on the window. Then she turned her head. Then when she moved her finger back and forth against the window, that was, I thought, was like a prayer that had been answered.
I don't know about that.
4 years have passed. Although she spent 11 days in the hospital, Tanya suffered no permanent injuries from the incident.
I thought he only looked like 80.
She did a lot of swimming before she did her dive, so she was lowering her body temperature without even realizing it before she went down into that cold water.
It was too much to bear. I couldn't handle it.
Tanya had become so disoriented by the cold, she didn't notice her regulator was caught.
I didn't know anything about hypothermia then, so I've learned a lot.
And then I just got rid of that one. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. She's a wonderful person. She has a very good outlook on life and how to handle things. And I'm just glad that I was there to help her and get her out of that situation.
I try to tell Sharon how much I appreciate it, but it's hard for me because I don't want to think about myself almost dying. I can't even express how much I'm happy to know her unless she's a part of my life. I love her more than anything.
It was my money, so
I think Sharon, what she did was almost unbelievable as far as physical strength.
It's like, oh, okay, now we're playing.
We have a lot of love for her. A lot of things.
I have told Tanya that she must make something of her life because she has been given a second chance. And I feel that she must be very special to be given this chance.
The worst of times often brings out the best in people, as Eddie and Joanne Quaid found out on March 2nd, 1994, on their 40-mile drive home to Stroud, Oklahoma, with their 6-month-old granddaughter. Eddie and Joanne's daughter, Vicki Iska, was making the same drive in a separate car.
My mom and dad are really close to my kids, especially my baby, Gina. They're just typical grandparents. Love them and talk about them and show pictures to everyone they see. These are my grandkids.
Also driving eastbound on Turner Turnpike was a semi carrying oil field storage tanks.
The diameter was 10 foot plus your trailer height, so you've got 15 foot at least off the ground.
I just saw this huge explosion of dirt, and then I saw a car come out. Something had just crushed the cab on it, and I noticed that the vehicle isn't stopping. It's catching up speed and it's going uphill.
Felix Batista had been traveling in the opposite direction on the turnpike.
It was just weaving back and forth. I really wasn't expecting to find the driver alive, but I felt I've got to stop this car somehow. By the time I catch up to it, we're doing 65 miles an hour. That's when my heart really started pounding. Started praying because this car's going to crash or it was going to cross the median and hit some oncoming traffic. That's when I decided I need to help these people no matter what the cost.
Jim Mills had also been driving in the opposite direction when he spotted the weaving car.
My first thought was somebody who was drunk. And I thought I ought to at least get a license plate.
I saw what needed to be done, which was to get in front of that car to stop it. And as soon as it gave me room, I just gunned it. By the time I got in front of it, I was probably doing 80 miles an hour. Then I began slowing down. The first bump was pretty good. And this was a brand new van that a company I worked for. And so I'm thinking, why did I have to have the new van? Why couldn't I have the old van?
At that point, the car started rolling back toward me. And I thought the only way to stop that automobile would be to ease up into its bumper and wedge it up against my car.
And after it hit me, it just continued to slow down. I've never seen people's brains before, but I was expecting to see a real mess.
And it was impossible to get the door open, and the extensiveness of the roof damage of the car looked like it just drove him right into the seat.
Try that back door. Open it. Nope. Here we go.
And the passenger didn't seem to be injured.
All right.
I was very surprised that anyone survived.
When I saw the baby, I was real grateful that it was not injured, because when I first saw the car, I didn't think there would be any survivors.
Among the rescue workers who arrived on the scene was EMSA Advanced Life Support paramedic Michael King.
The driver of the vehicle was complaining of back pain and no movement of his legs. He didn't have any life-threatening injuries, but I did not expect him to ever walk again.
We're okay, Eddie. The baby's okay.
I found out later that his wife was steering it from the passenger side with one hand, trying to keep the car from crossing the center median.
We're okay, Eddie.
Absolutely amazing. She kept them from having a head-on collision. She's the hero in all of this.
61-year-old Eddie Quaid was taken to Mercy Health Center, where he was examined by neurosurgeon Rob Remondino.
When he came in, he was almost completely paralyzed. And x-rays were taken in the emergency room, and it became pretty obvious that he had an explosion fracture in the neck. And these small pieces of bone fragment go back and squeeze or injure the spinal cord.
Well, he's got a vertebrae. It's been compressed and fractured.
When you're told that they're in a wreck, you have all kinds of pictures that flash through your head, you know.
CAT scan, get a CAT scan, special.
I could have lost my mother, my father, and my child in one day. It was horrible.
He needs to get up there pretty quick. So.
The first thing that Dad said to me was, "Gina's okay."
Okay.
He was lying there with a broken neck, and his concern was her.
Eddie underwent 6 hours of delicate surgery to reconstruct his neck.
Step.
When he asked me, "Doc, how bad is it?" And I said, "Well, Eddie, it's bad." I says, "I'm not sure you'll ever be able to walk again." And Eddie's kind of a guy who, he kind of has that pioneer spirit. He just said, "Doc, you do your job, and I can guarantee I'll be walking."
Step with the right.
And he was true to his word.
And shift your weight to the good job.
I started riding bulls when I was 14 years old. I've been hurt before, but nothing compared with that. Okay. I remember that tank looked like it was 10 stories high coming through the air, hit on top of me. And then I woke up, I went trying to move things, and nothing would move. That was the most terrible experience I ever had. And I remember when I was in that wheelchair, and I'd look up and I'd see those people come by on the walkers, and I'd just say to myself, I'm going to do that. It's pretty hard to talk about. Didn't think it would be.
Eddie's recovery is expected to be nearly complete. Recently, he went to see Felix again.
Hello, Felix. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine. Glad to meet you.
Glad to meet you.
Yeah, I've been wanting to meet you. Kind of thank you.
Yeah.
Felix must be pretty quick. He's got to be pretty alert. He saved us all.
This is my wife.
Glad to meet you.
Glad
to meet you.
I told my wife, Kay, I was like, "Hi, sweetheart, I'm home. I just went out and saved somebody's life today, you know." She was like, "Yeah, right, you're a hero." So she eventually believed me.
Nice to meet you, Vicky.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't go out of their way, and I think they really saved all three of their lives. They're heroes to me.
I never did think myself as a hero. I think anybody would have done what I did.
Sure,
She's right along here, even older than I am. It's amazing the difference in it being a complete disaster and turning out like it did. Kind of blows your mind.
Next.
Iguanas are really fast climbers. By the time I reacted, she was out of my reach.
Claudia?
Other people's choices in love are not always easily understood. On February 10th, 1995, at his parents' home in Beverly Hills, California, Jed Abrams discovered that there are people who are willing to go out on a limb to lend a helping hand to the object of your affection, however strange she might be.
You ready to get some sun today, Claudia?
Claudia is a very friendly iguana, and I'd stay next to my dog. She's the most receptive pet I've had to human contact. Samson would not intentionally hurt anything, but he likes to play around with Claudia's tail. But she's a smaller animal, so she sort of looks out for herself. Iguanas are really fast climbers. By the time I reacted to the situation, she was out of my reach.
Claudia, come here. Come here. Come on. Go back, Claudia. Go back.
I tried to coax her down with pieces of food, but she's happy in the trees and she didn't want to come down. I'm pretty frustrated at this point because I have a cast on and I can't climb up to her.
Claudia?
But it still hadn't really sunk in that this was going to be a problem.
Claudia?
After a couple hours, I realized that there was no way I was going to be able to get her down by myself. So I did what any lazy teenager does. I called somebody else to come help me do it.
Yeah, this may sound strange, but I got my iguana stuck at the top of a tree.
Initially, I called the fire department.
Beverly Hills?
I think they laughed a little bit and told me that the SPCA handled that sort of thing.
Animal Service Officer Tori Matthews was on routine patrol 5 miles away when she got word of Jed's problem.
He was a little anxious.
Initially, she climbed up this one right here.
He wanted to make sure that Claudia was safe and back in the house where she belonged. It's not an uncommon problem. We get animals that get up into the trees quite often.
Okay, and where was the last place that you saw her?
But we couldn't find her in the trees.
I wonder if she moved into one of the other trees. Maybe if we go up top.
And they can sit so still that you're not going to see them.
Yeah, the last time I saw her, she was about, Tori, I see her?
All right.
She was up about 15 or 20 feet.
Okay, I'm coming up. Oh, okay, I see her. I see her. I see her. Come here, little one.
I got within arm's reach of the iguana, but the only thing I could actually reach was the tail.
And grab a hold of her tail. What would happen?
You don't want to.
If there's one area of the iguana you just don't want to mess with, it's their tail. If they're upset or they're scared, if you grab them by the tail, they can actually release the tail.
Try this.
What I wanted to try and do was stick the putter in front of its face and hopefully make it turn around, and it would see Jed and maybe come back to where Jed was at.
Come on. Can you turn? Huh? Can you turn? I'm getting nothing out of her at all, Jed.
It was kind of a risky situation and didn't have too many more hours of daylight left.
She doesn't seem to like that too much. I think we're going to have to come up with something else.
Okay.
Oh, no!
I think at that point the iguana tripped or she got scared and fell off. I had already prepared myself that Claudia probably had died.
Steps, get away from the iguana. Get away from her. Come here.
No.
Get away.
We both met, and what we saw was the iguana swimming around the sides of the pool.
Claudia, come here.
Iguanas are very, very fast swimmers. It's not one of those things where you can just jump in and catch the animal.
How about a pool skimmer? You got a pool skimmer?
Yeah, over in the first one on the right.
All right, I'll be right back.
but I couldn't find the pool skimmer.
Come on. She's moving.
I raced back, and the iguana was at the bottom of the pool.
We both realized we had limited time to react here, but the doctor told me, don't get the cast wet.
When I hit the water, I knew exactly what happened. That water was like a glass of ice water. It was extremely cold, and those animals cannot handle cold at all.
She just came up. Get her, Jed.
And I told Jed, race in the house, wrap it in a towel so we can get the body temperature back up.
How's she doing?
Not moving.
Oh, no. Blow on her face, see what she does.
I wanted to see if there was going to be a reaction, but there was nothing.
Check for pulse.
So I started checking for a heartbeat, any kind of respiration whatsoever. There were none. It was just completely gone. It was like Jell-O.
Okay.
And I gave a little puff into the nose.
Come on.
And started pumping between its stomach and its chest with my fingertips.
9, 10.
You have to make them very tiny breaths because you can actually blow up their lungs.
Come on. Okay.
The tail started to move very slowly, and the eyes opened up.
There you go. Oh, jeez.
And I turned to Jed and told him, Jed, I think we have movement here. This animal's breathing again.
Claudia the iguana was examined by a reptile expert at a nearby animal hospital and released the same day. Jed now does all he can to make sure her feet remain firmly planted on the ground.
Every pet out there has a unique personality. I'm not really into reptiles myself, but for Jed, he really cares about Claudia, his iguana.
Tori did the whole 9 yards in terms of saving the animal, and it sort of surprised me that for a small reptile as opposed to a dog, she would jump in the pool or climb the tree. She did a great job.
My new nickname at work is Lizard Lips. It does nothing for you when you're trying to get a date and guys find out about this. They just kind of smile and walk away.